What's up, folks? Your buddy Fatalroadie. Tonight we're doing a Raw recap. We started off with a memorial for Bullet Bob Armstrong. And we got Randy Orton coming out. He talks about the attack on Drew McIntyre last week. Orton says that he's entitled to a title opportunity. Sounds like we're pulling the Dolph Ziggler card again. Orton shows a picture up on the Titantron of all of his victims. Then Keith Lee comes out. He reminds Orton that he beat him last night. Then out from behind, Dolph Ziggler comes out. He attacks Keith Lee. And that brings us our first match. Keith Lee versus Dolph Ziggler. This is going to be the first of 3 matches to determine who's going to be going into a triple threat match to determine who's going to be the #1 contender for the WWE title. What? Wow, that was a lot to digest right there. Keith Lee is powering through Dolph Ziggler, including yeeting him halfway across the ring. Ziggler tries a super kick, but Lee was able to get him into the Spirit Bomb and gets the pin. It was a decent match. I liked it. We got a recap of the women's tag match from Payback. And backstage, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are still getting along wonderfully. Asuka comes running in. She gets in their faces. Then we got Adam Pearce getting serious with his security people about retribution. Asuka comes out to the ring. She's demanding who her next opponent's going to be. Mickie James comes out. She wants a title shot. Then Natalya and Lana come out. Guess what they want. Lana and Natalya are running their mouths. Asuka says she's ready for all 3 of them. Lana and Natalya attack James and Asuka, and the faces end up cleaning house. Then we got a recap of last week where Bobby Lashley was running roughshod over Raw Underground. Then backstage, that random blonde that I have absolutely no idea what the fuck she's doing there for is talking up the Viking Raiders and Cedric Alexander. As they all part ways, Angel Garza is standing in the background. Okay, whatever. And then from that BS that we were just dealing with in the ring a minute ago, we got Lana versus Mickie James. Natalya is at ringside. Asuka is at commentary. It was an M match. Mickie James won it. Okay. We got a recap of last week. Aleister Black kicking the hell out of Kevin Owens. Then we see backstage Randy Orton leaving Aleister Black's room. Then the Iconics are talking about their past and their match coming up with the Riot Squad and how they say they're going to be winning. Then we got Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. As Kevin Owens is coming down the ramp, Aleister Black attacks Owens from behind. Black throws Owens into the ring. Reluctantly, the referee rings the bell. Short match. Randy Orton hits the RKO, gets the pin. Okay. Now this match was the second one in the 3 for the #1 contender, triple threat, jumble, whatever. Yeah, that thing. We find out backstage that Rey Mysterio was injured last night, and so he's not going to be facing Seth Rollins. So you think, oh, that match isn't going to happen anymore. Nope, you're wrong. Dominik's going to face him. And that's going to be our 3rd match for that jumble #1 contender shit. Then we got a recap of last night's Payback with Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews. And that Raw Underground is going to be Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews. Cool. Okay. Then we got MVP in the Waste of Time Lounge. Shelton Benjamin is there. Now, I will give one bit of credit to MVP. He does make a Mad Max reference to them being in Thunderdome, being that Tina Turner is there, and that the Hurt Business is running Bartertown. I give MVP some props on that. It's about time somebody made the connection there. Anyways, Bobby Lashley is their guest. They talk about Apollo Crews and the Payback match. MVP says the Hurt Business is not done with Apollo Crews. They talk about their upcoming 6-man tag match. Then Cedric Alexander comes walking down to the ramp. MVP asks him, have you changed your mind? Alexander says, no, I haven't changed my mind. I also didn't come in by myself. The Viking Raiders comes running in from behind. They all fight. And that brings up our next match. The Viking Raiders and Cedric Alexander versus the Hurt Business. This is an M match. Cedric Alexander rolled up MVP. The Hurt Business tried to rush in on Cedric Alexander, but MVP stopped him. Out of all of this, I think Cedric Alexander is not going to be the one turning. I think Ricochet is going to be going with the Hurt Business. I don't know, just the feeling how everything goes. After a commercial, backstage, the Hurt Business are beating down on Cedric Alexander. They're chased off by Ricochet and Apollo Crews. Then we got the Iconics versus the Riot Squad. The losers team will disband, and the winning team will be facing Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag titles. Once again, I'm reminded that I needed to use the mute button on this match. It was a decent match, albeit very predictable. I'll get to that in a second. After a flurry of pin attempts, Ruby Riott pins Billie Kay. So the Iconics are now officially disbanded. Now I say this is predictable because a couple of weeks ago Vince McMahon said he wanted to make Peyton Royce a single star. So what better way of making her a single star by splitting up the team? Yeah. As annoying as the Iconics are, and I call them the Australian Bella Twins, they are a decent tag team. I really, you can have single stars coming out of tag teams. Keep them as a tag team and just give each other their own push. I don't understand what the big problem is, but, Vince McMahon. Okay. Then we got yet another recap of the Dominik, Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins saga. Dude. I think every week we're just going to have this until the end of time. Which brings up our next match, Dominik versus Seth Rollins in the #1 contender jumble match. Rollins comes out with Murphy. Rollins admonishes Murphy for getting him kicked in the head and taking the pin last night, tells him to get the hell out of the ring. As Murphy is walking up the ramp, he's attacked by Dominik. As we're talking about breaking people up, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the end of the Monday Night Messiah and Murphy. So getting on to our match, this was decent. Dominik was putting up a good fight, but didn't hold up to Seth Rollins. He ended up nailing the curb stomp, getting the pin. Now we go on to Raw Underground. We got Titus O'Neil versus some nobody. Titus O'Neil beats him. Riddick Moss comes running in. He beats Titus O'Neil. Now, I will say this is probably the best I've seen Titus O'Neil in quite a long time. Outside of getting beaten by Riddick Moss, he was looking pretty good here. Earlier today, we got R-Truth sneaking the pin on Akira Tozawa to become the 24/7 champion again. Then we got the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. This is going to be a tornado tag match. Zelina Vega's at ringside and that random blonde chick once again. What the fuck? This was a good match. I haven't seen a tornado tag match in quite some time. Garza and Andrade had most of the offense. The Street Profits did start to fight back. Once Montez Ford started firing up, the lights started going all screwy and shit. Retribution swarms ringside. Angel Garza and rando chick run off, leaving Zelina Vega, Andrade, and the Street Profits to get beat down by Retribution. Back to Raw Underground, we got Avery Taylor versus Jessamine Duke. Duke wins it. Then we got Marina Ruiz. I can't remember her name. Marina, I know that part, versus some nobody. Marina wins it. The Iconics are standing there, and Marina and Duke are sitting there staring them down. Peyton Royce chucks Billy Kay into the ring. Billy Kay ends up eating shit. Then in our Raw Underground main event, we got Apollo Crews versus Shelton Benjamin. This was looking pretty decent. A big-ass brawl ended up fighting out with the Hurt Business, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and Apollo Crews. Then backstage, we got Angel Garza bailing out on Rando Chick when Retribution comes running into the screen. And on to Raw's main event, we got the triple threat match for the #1 contender jumble shit. Randy Orton versus Keith Lee versus Seth Rollins. Right off the bat, Seth Rollins tries to get Randy Orton to team up. Randy Orton bails out to the side. Keith Lee is holding his own versus the two heels, but the numbers do get the better of him. Randy Orton gives a draping DDT to Seth Rollins. Keith Lee starts rampaging, giving the yeet to Randy Orton and hucking Seth Rollins over the commentary table. Later on, Seth Rollins starts working down Keith Lee, sets him up for the curb stomp, but Keith Lee was able to catch him, hits him with the Spirit Bomb. Then out of nowhere, Randy Orton hits the RKO, dropping Keith Lee, runs over to Seth Rollins, gives him the pin. So Randy Orton's going to be facing Drew McIntyre at Clash of Champions. Rather predictable. Orton is standing up on the top of the stage, standing tall, as we end tonight's Raw. Tonight's Raw was decent. I mean, there were some matches that I really wasn't crazy about. There were two parts, like I said, that were rather predictable, but it wasn't a bad Raw. Sure as hell was better than the go-home show from last week. If I were to give any real complaint, the Mickie James, Lana, Natalya, we need to stop that, especially the Lana and Natalya stuff. Why? And being it was the Fallout show from a pay-per-view, we did have the obligatory, recap over recap over recap over, okay, we get it. Retribution seems to be growing in numbers and in size as well. Hopefully we'll be able to find out who the fuck is in it. I mean, I'm not saying let's just go ahead and rip the masks off and show everybody who they are. It's okay we can give that a slow build, because I honestly have a feeling that The Miz is going to be the leader of that group. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But that's my gut feeling. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Raw Recap. I'll be back later this week with the SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below what you thought of tonight's Raw, what you thought about this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya. I screwed that up.